This morning we have with us Ann Strassnyder, Colette Crosby, um, and Mari Lyons. They're from the League of Women's Voters of Kitsap County. So in preparing for this presentation this morning, I did a little research into the roots of the League of Women Voters. So in Washington State, women's activism and politics actually goes back to before Washington was a state. In 1871, the Seattle Association for Women's Suffrage was established. The forerunner of the League of Women Voters was, let's see, and then can we make sure that everyone is on mute so we don't have any echoes on the recording? But the forerunner of the League of Women Voters was begun in 1909. It was an association that was part of the women's suffrage movement. And then in 1920, when women were given the vote, the League of Women Voters was formed. The League is one of those rare and endangered species in that it's a nonpartisan organization, so they don't recommend or endorse political candidates. Their mission is to provide information that will help voters be more informed about the choices they make during the election. So Maury is a member. Ann is one of the co-presidents of the Kitsap County League of Women Voters. Colette is the head of the Bainbridge Island unit of the League of Women Voters. And without further ado, I will turn the meeting over to Maury and Colette. And you are on mute, Maury.
Yeah, there we go. Hello, I'm going to be the main presenter here, but I'm definitely going to keep the door open for Ann and Colette to chime in, either to add what I have to say or maybe correct what I have to say. As Bob said, the League is nonpartisan, so we don't support any candidate or oppose any candidate or party. So we won't be talking about the candidates at all, but there's a lot of information that's available to you. And so what I'm going to start with, and I will start sharing right now, actually, and I'm just going to first say that the League of Women Voters is there's a national, the National League, and this is the website for LWV, LeagueWomenVoters.org. And what's interesting here is not only the League from that perspective, but you can also get to all of the official positions that the National League has adopted. And it's quite a book full, but there's also a PDF of it. And the reason I bring this up is the League has official positions, and the state leagues and the county leagues must follow and must be in line with those positions. And a lot of people ask about what the League's position is on this or that. And so if you go to the national website, you can click into this and this is impact on issues of 2018 to 2020. So maybe there's one from 2020 to 21 or 22, I don't know. But that's the national. And then there are the state leagues. Every state has its League of Women Voters. And the League of Women Voters of Washington, of course, has its website. And so it's a bit more local for us. And on their website, you can get information about forums that are more the state level than our local level. So you can get forums on the lieutenant governor and secretary of state. And then they've even got scheduled already debates for the general elections. And so all of this information you can get from the state of Washington's League of Women Voters. It's lwvwa.org. And then each county has a league, and this is the I don't want to say lowest, it's farthest, it's the most local. And so we have our own site here on Kitsap County, League of Women Voters of Kitsap County. And there's also lots of information up here, recent recordings. We did candidate forums for the primaries, and you can view them. You can get the links here from our website. There's Talking to Voters is a great 5-page guide with tips for talking to people who might be reluctant to vote. Vote WA, that's votewashington.gov. That's an excellent place to get more information. So this is the local league's website. So with that, with that overview of the national, the state, the local, one of the most popular sites at this point is Vote 411. Vote 411 is maintained throughout all levels of the league. It's like a league national tool. So when you're going here, sometimes you have to put in your address and zip code so they can narrow it down to you and your ballot. And on this vote411.org, you can there's subcategories. You can check your own voter registration status. If you go in there, I'll just do that. I'll just do it real quickly. If you go in there and I want to verify, and go down to, because it's a national tool, so I need to go down to Washington. And then I put in my first name, my last name, Lewis. I'll go ahead and let you guys know. 03-23-52. And then submit. And it says here that my registration is active. It has my birth date, my address, and the county. And if this is not correct, you can make corrections. And that's all.
Oops.
And actually, this is through Vote WA, which I referred to earlier. So Vote 411 Washington sends you to Vote WA. So let's see, let me get back up here now. So after you've checked your voter registration, you can also register online up to yesterday. We're too close to the election now to register to vote online. But in Vote 411, you can go in and register to vote. And then what is most interesting, of course, is to find what's on your ballot. And this is it depends on where you live, what's on your ballot. So we'll go there. And again, I will need to put in my street address, 5373 Cambridge Island, and then submit. So this is the voter's guide. And anybody that goes to Vote 411 and goes to information about their ballot and puts in their information, they get the voter guide that is appropriate for them. One of the first things I want to make sure is that you've all received your ballots. If you have not received your ballot yet, then you should definitely call the auditor's office. And that is, if you have a pen, so you can write this down. Area code 360-337-7129. And you need to call them, and maybe there's a mix up on your address, or you know, if your registration is incorrect, then it might have gotten mailed someplace else, but call them to get your ballot. So back to Vote 411, the voter's guide. You can learn about what candidates are running for office in your community and how they stand on the issues. So if you go down here, this shows here that where I live, there's 14 races. I am in, or probably all of us are in, the Washington State House District 6, the Senate District 23, and so those are the districts. And so here is the first race, Washington State House District 23, position 2. So if we go to make a selection, it sort of describes what this position does, which is always nice to know. And then it shows the the candidates that are running, no matter how many it is. And if you click on one, let's see, position 1. I'm gonna let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I'll just go from left to right, whoever has a picture. I don't want, because I have to be nonpartisan here picking one. But anyway, so I'll just go whoever has a picture. So this is Leslie J. Doggs, and it shows information about her. And Vote 411 lists questions that the league has gathered and put together themselves, and invited the candidates to answer these questions. And so here's a question, and here is candidate Dog's answer. And there's another question and another question. So there's several questions here. So you can look through her questions, and then you want to compare it with somebody else. You just hit the word compare under their name, and side by side, you see their information. And also side by side, you see the answers to the questions that have been asked. So then you can,
that's cool.
Let's see. You can, let's see. I'm trying to get back to the races. Okay.
Yeah, in the upper left-hand corner of the browser, there's an arrow. So if you click on that, it'll take you back a page.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was looking for where on the page itself you can get back to the page. And I just clicked on that. So it got me back to my races. And, you know, the state treasurer, the Washington Attorney General, all of these things. Let's do here. Washington Commissioner of Public Lands. And I'm gonna get back up here. Oops. Washington Commissioner
there they are.
Lands, a little bit about what they do, and then the list of candidates. Now, the league tries very hard to let the candidates know that Vote 411 is available for them to, you know, put out some information about them, but not all of them do respond. So sometimes you'll see the questions answered by one candidate but not another. But it's a great place to go to find more information about the candidates and how they stand on particular issues. And also, it's interesting to get other information like voter registration and such. Let's see, personalized voter, much more. You can all of this. Report election issues. And it would be great if you can sort of spread the word about Vote 411. Let's see.
Marie?
Yes.
Did you want to talk about how they can link through to the forums, the recorded forums?
Yes. As I showed on the League of Women Voters page of Kitsap, just on their home page, there are recordings. And so we could go to the 26th Legislative District and that's a recording. Okay. So I'll stop that. And then if you watch for, you know, when the general approaches, we'll be putting out a lot of notices about upcoming forums. They're not scheduled yet, but they're just as we had forums for the primary election, we will also have forums for the general election. And going to our website at lwv-kitsap.org is where you can link to all of the recorded forums. And then if you want something more on the state level, as I said before, you can go to the League of Women Voters of Washington State's website, which is lwvwa.org, and you get forms for the positions like governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, all of these things, because these, you know, will be on the ballot. So there's state level forms that you can get to by the League of Women Voters state level and by the League of Women Voters of Kitsap. There's also a lot of other places to get information. So I'm going to switch. I don't know how to do it other than to go there and then do another one. And this time I want to go here. This is a poster that one of our colleagues put together, which is a great resource for voters. There's the Vote WA, which is from like the state level, and it's an excellent site. Vote 411 that we just talked about. Ballotpedia sometimes has very interesting information. Here's our website, League of Women Voters-kitsap.org. On the issues, Vote Smart for teens. Also, we have websites listed here for checking information accuracy: Fact Check, Flack Check, PolitiFact, Snopes, Investigate West. And we have important information, phone numbers. And this is up on our website. Let's see. If I stop sharing or processing, stop presenting, and then present again window, I'm going to go here. Oops, wrong one. We also have a page on our website, Voter Tools, and you can register to vote, Vote 411, Kitsap County Auditor, their website, get information about voter registration, elected officials, results of most recent elections, useful documents. Oh, well, that's not for voting. That's the league in general. And there's also here are live links to some of the resources that I just mentioned. Vote Smart, Vote 411. And so all of these resources are up on our website at lwv-kitsap.org. Another interesting place to get information is the Washington State's Public Disclosure Commission's website. And you can go here to find out the amount of contributions that have, who's endorsing the candidate, how many contributions they've gotten, of their contributions, how much they had already spent. It's a very informative website. And the league actually, I don't know how many years ago, 20?
More.
Something like that. More than that, maybe. We seeded the idea and were a very strong part in getting this commission initiated, and it's grown obviously since then. But it's a good information on who endorses your candidate. And another thing, well, what I wanted to do also is, let's see, Voter Tools. I'm back on our website, League of Women Voters of Kitsap County. And obviously, well, I thought I would talk a little bit about what other things that we have done for the election, which is voter registration and get out the vote. And we have banners that I don't know if it's just maybe Madeline or Colette can talk. Maybe I'll ask Colette first. Maybe she'll know the dates when the banners are going to be held and volunteers for holding up the banners.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be this Thursday, Friday, and Monday at the Bainbridge Island Ferry Terminal. So people will be greeting the Seattle commuters as they come to Bainbridge Island with the banners and signs, just to remind them to vote.
Yeah. And we had a great postcard campaign, which started maybe 3 months ago. And we got, I don't have one right here. We got 3,395 postcards addressed and stamped, and they were all mailed on Saturday, or, you know, plus or minus a day, to encourage people to vote. And they were handwritten, and they were actually, we got a file from the auditor's office of registered voters. And we took a segment of that, because we obviously couldn't do it all, but we got voter low turnout areas, and we got addresses for those, and we mailed out more than 3,000 postcards. And we're going to be doing it again for the general election. So I'll probably start that campaign up in September. And we've gotten comments back from individuals that have already received those postcards, telling us, thanking us, and feeling it was really great to get these reminders. And that's something that you don't have to be a member to help. There's a lot of things we do where you don't have to be a member to help what we do. The postcards or the banners, putting you know, we don't knock on doors or anything like that, obviously, because of the situation, but we still put posters up. And that's one of the reasons we did postcards. You know, we couldn't do face to face, so we decided to do handwritten postcards. And on the website, you can encourage people that might be interested, whether it's men or women. We invite gentlemen to join the League of Women Voters, and we have several members. So particularly in family, you can get the family discount if that happens. But on the website, you can just join online, and you just put in your information, and you can pay with PayPal or a check. And a lot about what we do, we cannot support or oppose any party or candidate, but we advocate for on particular issues as long as they're in alignment with the nationals' positions that they have adopted. And so here on our county League of Women for Kitsap, we have community education program planning, diversity, equity, and inclusion, early childhood, healthcare, housing, voting and democracy, water resources. My screen might not be. Yeah, and water resources. So, like if you, there's a link to pages showing events that are coming up that our league is hosting, or events that have already occurred. So you can go to the website and see different areas that we're working on. There's also on our website here, it's upcoming public events. Not that we're hosting this one, but it's the primary election, the recent events. And then we do a monthly newsletter. And I'll just pull up, this is the current summer newsletter. Oh, I guess I can't. Never mind. I can't unless I stop presenting and then representing. But anyway, we have a monthly, it's called The Voter. We get those monthly. So we also want to really encourage people to remind their family and their friends to get their ballots in the mail. The sooner the better. And I think that's about, let's see, the banners. I think that's all I have. Oh, the candidates. Another good place to go get information is on the candidates' own websites. You know, they want to express their opinions and how they stand on issues. So you can go to their individual websites for information as well. So Anne and Colette, do you have anything you'd like to add in here?
No. I think that's probably about it. Am I muted?
No.
Oh.
No, we can hear you.
Well, the only other thing that was very obvious is the voters pamphlet, which if you don't have the physical voters pamphlet, it is also online at the Kitsap County Auditor's site. And sometimes it's just interesting to look at it and see all those people running for governor and various other things, and you can just get an idea of who they are. And then if you want more, you can go into all these other places that Maury mentioned, and you can go to the candidates' own websites, and by that time you'll probably have a pretty good idea of who they are and whether you want to vote for them or not. Yeah. And that's the auditors. Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Yeah, that looks like that's the elected officials, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, right.
But anyway, the voters pamphlet is on the auditor's website because I've looked at it a few times. I don't know where.
So
Anybody have questions or comments or?
Yeah, so you can unmute yourself to ask your questions. You can also put them into the chat box.
Right.
Yes, I was wondering how I might make a connection with you or someone about assisting in the postcard.
Oh,
great. Great. Let's see.
do you want to
Yeah.
give her your?
Yeah. What you can you can contact us by sending an email to info@lwv-kitsap.org. So you can, send an email to info@lwv-kitsap.org. Whether you want to do the postcards or if you want more information about any of the areas that we're focusing on or any other volunteer opportunities, or to join, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we had a question come in over chat. The question is, what would be the minimum research for a first-time voter should do this primary?
I would say go to Vote 411 to get information about the candidates and answers to to issue questions that the league put out there, so you can sort of get a taste of how they stand on a position, and they can compare it with the other candidates. So I would say Vote 411 is probably the best place, and their own website, the candidates' website, and Vote 411. And the voters pamphlet. If they don't have a voters pamphlet, it's online I don't know whether you could get one now. It's probably too late to get actual paper one. But if you go to the auditor's website, Kitsap County Auditor, you can get to the voter pamphlet there. So the candidate's website, Vote 411, and the voters pamphlet. And forms, look at the forms, watch the forms. Those are always pretty interesting. So let me ask, what would you like the league to do in preparation for the general election? Keeping in mind that we can't support or oppose a candidate or a party, what can the league do to help you be a more informed voter or help you get more engaged in the election for the general election in November? Because we're really open and always want to figure out what else we can do. What else can we do to help the voters? So if there's any ideas out there, send them in.
Yeah, so this is Bob. One idea that I have, I knew about some of these resources, but there's such a wide array of resources. Has the league considered doing like targeted digital advertising? So for example, on Facebook, for $10 you could you could buy an ad that targets Kitsap County and just actively push out information that's available to voters that people may not be aware of.
Well, actually, we do have social media presence. We have the league, the Kitsap League, and the State League and the National League all have Facebook pages as well as Instagram, and some of them have Twitter accounts as well. So we promote for free, essentially by hopefully either having people follow our page or share it with others. You can boost your posts by spending a little bit of money on Facebook, but the woman who's on our team who manages our social media presence has said it doesn't really actually increase our visibility that much. As for a formal advertising campaign, I think maybe Ann or Maury can answer that question, but we do have social presence.
Yeah, that is something to consider. I mean, we have done a lot more paid advertising in the past, but it was usually more like advertising our forums and the newspapers and that kind of thing, which we could consider. It's expensive, and we're kind of debating on the what you're talking about, the boosting or taking out ads on Facebook. It supposedly does generate more contacts with people, but it's sort of hard to track. But yeah, that's an idea that we'll definitely be looking into.
One thing I'll add about the postcard campaign is we got data from the auditor's office of the voter turnout across the county. So we picked precincts that had the lowest turnout, a high populated precinct with a lower turnout. And we picked 3 precincts, and we sent over 3,000 postcards to those 3 precincts. And then there's another 3 precincts that are quite similar to them that we did not send postcards to. And so we want to compare after the primary, the difference I'm sure both of them, I'm guessing both sets have an increase in voter turnout. But we're going to be comparing the rate of increase, of the two to see how the postcards work. We're newly and strongly focusing on the social media.
Yeah.
You know, we're new on the block, you know, compared to many others, but we want to learn the tricks of the trade. And one of the real things that I'm interested in is metrics on how we can measure whether this particular campaign, whatever it might be, had an impact on the voter turnout. And so I think if we design a social media campaign that's defined and can possibly provide metrics for measurements, that would be great. But that's the way, you know, that's the way it is these days, not only because of the COVID, but also the younger people are just, that's how they communicate. They don't read newspapers, that's for sure. And so if we want the league to maintain its, at least its membership amount, it's going to, you know, because as others leave, the young have to come in. And so we've got to speak their language. And it's not like that. We have two categories of publicity: social media and traditional.
Yeah.
And we're putting the gas on the social media. And Colette and her colleague Victoria, I think, are getting us well established, a good presence. So if you know anybody that's a guru in social media, we'd love to talk with them. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't describe myself as a guru, but I do have some experience with that, and I'll send you an email after the presentation.
Okay. I think what you need to do first is go to our website and go to the Join Us page, you know, and fill that out and press the button.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get
Very invited.
did you get the message, Bob?
Pardon?
Did you get the message?
I got the message. It was rather clear and distinctly delivered.
We would be will always be happy to talk with the Senior Community Center about the league and voting and any help we can do. And when we have just regular, not voting, but other local issues, we can host forums of any type that is of interest in the county, somewhere in the county. We can do a forum. We can invite speakers. It can be recorded. It can be posted up on our YouTube. That's what we're all about, is making the residents of Kitsap County well-informed, not only for voting, but the local issues. You know, there's no initiatives or referendums or anything on the primary. And I don't think there's much even on the general, but on the years when local elections are much bigger, that we have forums on issues as well as forums on candidates. And so input from you guys and the public, we treasure, actually, because that's how we learn what you guys need or want to be informed, engaged people. So,
is there any other questions that people want to talk about? Okay.
I don't know if
Thank you for being on. Thank you for coming.
yeah.
Yeah, so what's really, I mean, like, this really came together at the last minute, and we appreciate all of the members of the league that joined us this morning on pretty short notice. So very good information, and we appreciate you coming here.
I want to mention another recording or an interview we put together. BCAT. BCAT is the Bainbridge Kitsap Access Television, and that's like our community television. And in their studio, we've had interviews, and in fact, I'll show one of them. On these recent recordings, one of them is why vote in local elections. And this was an interview that we taped in the BCAT studio. And this is just a sample. This is voting, but we can have interviews about, just about anything. Just one-on-ones, or maybe we could, do an interview with one or two people. We are prepared to accommodate the current situation that we're in. The forums we did were Zoom, and that was, a learning curve, but it worked very, very well. And now the governor, the state league is hosting forums or debates with the governor on Zoom, or maybe, I don't know, it might be in the TVW, TVW. It might be in their studio that happens, but
all 24 or 5 of them.
no, I don't.
No,
I doubt it.
No,
I doubt
I think
it.
it'll be more for the general. I can't remember if they did one.
Oh yeah, probably just for the general.
Yeah, I think that would be too many.